I would like to go to Myanmar now, because Myanmar is holding its general elections in a phased ballot, and this should be completed by the end of January. How should ASEAN respond? And should we recognize the elections?
Well, ASEAN's stand on Myanmar is based on what we call a five-point consensus, which means that you must have a cessation of violence, you must have an inclusive dialogue, and we must have humanitarian aid and so on. And on the elections particularly, ASEAN had a summit, I think in October in KL, and the leaders reiterated that if you're going to have an election, before you start the process, you must stop the hostilities, and you must have an inclusive dialogue, and there must be participation. Otherwise, you will not be able to have a transparent, credible election with an outcome which will command the respect and acceptance and legitimacy with the people. Now, the elections are carrying on. ASEAN has not decided to send observers to see this election because some of the countries have grave doubts whether these preconditions will be met. And if they are not met, well, you can carry out an election, but I think the problem will remain. This is not something which we have not seen before. Myanmar was in this situation for more than 20 years, since 1990 when the riots and the military took over. And over time, gradually, the military leaders in Myanmar came to the conclusion that there was no future for the country if it had to be ruled by repression under a military junta, that you had to have a government with legitimacy, with some popular support, and to be able to take the country forward. And so, in 2011, they transitioned. They brought in Aung San Suu Kyi and the NLD, and then they had elections 5 years later, and then in 2020 they had elections again. But unfortunately, the parties, the military side and the NLD, the civilian side, couldn't make it work, and so we are back in a military rule. It's a very delicate situation because to govern the country, which is 130-something nationalities, you need not just a civilian government with legitimacy, but you need to have some role for the military, because without the military, you can't make your government work. So how do you make that come together and hold it sustainable? And last time it worked for a decade, then it came unstuck. Now they are in this situation. I think it will take them quite some time before the military leaders come to the same conclusion. And we hope that they will be able to find their way forward and work out a solution which will lead to a government which will work. As for the elections, we do not pass judgment on other countries' elections. Question is, do I or do I not do business with the government of that country? And we do business with governments of countries where the leaders have won elections with 99% of the vote. So all countries where there are no elections, that's just the way the system works. But in the case of Myanmar, there is a specific humanitarian problem. It's a member of ASEAN. It's a problem we are collectively seized with.
So we will conduct business, but we do not at this point make any statement about the nature of the election or endorse it.
Well, we have doubts, but I think it's best that Myanmar solve that part of the problem itself. Right now, Myanmar is a member of ASEAN, but is not participating at the political level. It's different from what happened on the previous occasion when they continued to participate at the political level. This time we took a different stand. I think there are advantages and disadvantages, but I think for now, ASEAN has continued with the stand. It may change at some point.